First time you heard the term rockabilly being used to describe music?
Let's see. Well, yeah, I guess so. I think I would say, to me, a rockabilly is that you're asking me what is a rockabilly or when I heard it firstly used?
Well, both, I guess, yeah.
To me, the rockabillys of the business were Elvis and Jerry Lee and probably, I have to say, Roy Orbison. That would be like 54, 53, 54.
Yep.
And that basically to me was the sound that Son had, and I'm grateful to be said that I am linked to that, and it's an honor to be there, But I wish that I could truly say that I am a rockabilly, but I don't really think I am. I think possibly some of the songs, like Little Pig, or some of those tunes, are considered rockabillys. And when I go somewhere, they say, "You're a rockabilly." I say, "Okay." The next place, "You play blues?" "Yeah, I sure do." But the main thing is I just kind of play what I like. I think that different parts of the country have different sounds,
Yeah.
And I think that the Louisiana sound is different from the Memphis sound, And but I'm, like I said, honored to be considered in that category.
Was there any music that first attracted you to want to make music of your own?
Sure. First time I heard it. No, I'm going to tease you there. No, I was a kid. I've always sung, and I have to say that I always wanted to be in the music business. And some of the early artists I used to like to listen to, I would say like Hank Williams, but some of the artists in the gospel field, Sister Rosetta Tharpe.
Yeah.
And Lonnie Johnson. I love Lonnie Johnson's music. And I was raised in a little community of about 280 people. I was born on a plantation called Gold Mine, and we used to go to church in different churches, and being able to. My grandfather was a marshal of those parishes, and I'd get to go with him sometime, and I'd get to go over and hear. They had, at that time, it was a spread of race. And on one side of the cafe, there'd be people listening to one kind of music. The other side, they'd be listening to another kind. And so I got to listen to a good round version of different types of music. And I loved bluegrass, man. I thought Bill Monroe and Platinum Scruggs was probably the greatest thing ever hit the streets,
Yeah.
But as a just deciding to, I really didn't know what I wanted to do, what area of the music business I wanted to be in as far as a singer or a producer was concerned. Because we didn't have any studios when we cut Susie Q down there. Of course, we had radio stations where we did it.
But what about your guitar style? Were you drawing any influences there?
I'm sorry, as far as the what now?
Your guitar playing.
Well, I tell you what, it was hard to sing without a chord there, so I had to learn how to play songs, right? I got a guitar that had little chord charts to it, and that's how I learned to play guitar. Only thing about it was the strings were so high off of it, my fingers stayed tore up all the time. So I learned the piano. I used to go at church. I had the lady that was the pastor's wife there would show me how to make chords and things, but. My love was guitar, yeah. It sure was. I liked, what are you going to say? I like Burl Travis.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to say, some of the good down-home stuff, man. Let me see if I can go back and bring it up to you. How far back you want to go?
Oh, back to the beginning, if you like.
To the beginning?
Yeah.
In the beginning was. Okay. Let's see. Oh, I have to say, I loved Les Paul stuff when I was a kid. I was a kid. But I loved, man, it's hard. You get me one. B.B. King used to come to town all the time. And I liked his playing. You got some of the, why don't you hit me with Gate Mouth one time, okay? I loved Okie Dokie Stomp. Was a great song. But me, I was really more into, I'd have to say like Chet Atkins had some great sounds. But as far as real trooper, Sister Rosetta Tharpe used to could pick the heck out of a 12-string guitar, man. If you're asking me what guitar players did I think were great that I would like to have had to opportunity to work with, other than the ones that worked with me, I would have to say probably Wes Montgomery.
Yeah.
There was some great New Orleans pickers too. But in Louisiana, probably the best guitar players came from that part of the country. You take North Louisiana, Southern Arkansas, and you dip over into Mississippi and down. I'm at Memphis, lower Memphis, into Tennessee and down to Mississippi. I love good slide players, man. Lightning, some guys that Elmore James, I loved Elmore. But Hubert Summerlin is a link, man. He was one of the greats. It still is. I was up at the Jazz Blues Festival in Chicago this year and got to do a little with him, pick some with him, which was a thrill. Are you familiar with Hubert Summerlin?
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Okay, you got it. He was great, man. I loved the first stuff he did, and it was really a thrill to be around him and pick with him. When
you began recording, were you terribly ambitious at that stage, or was it really just?
Very, I had to be, man.
Yeah.
You had a bicycle, and we. No, I'm serious. We didn't have any studios there then, and we rode our bicycles up to the the KVK station, and we wouldn't stop. About 3 months on the strip trying to put it together and going when we could to get in. I was very ambitious.
Yeah.
Wouldn't stop.
Now, I guess it'd be crazy not to talk to you, not to talk about Susie Q.
Yeah, okay.
Have you ever pondered...
Well, man, I was the one that did it. I mean, he got us right out of the cotton patch.
Yeah.
Get the heck out of picking cotton.
Sure it did. Have you ever wondered... Sorry, have you ever wondered how your career might have turned out if you hadn't written it?
How my career would have turned out? Lord, no, I'll tell you what. It might have been better. Oh, teasing. I don't know what would have happened. I would probably continue to try, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it would open the doors that particular recording made for us, but I think it opened a lot of doors for everybody else, too. A lot of pickers, or a lot of people who were in the business, I wanted to get in. I think that song in itself was kind of every man could pick something from it and take and use, It took me 4 months to put it together. I wrote the song around the lick, a guitar lick. And James, it wasn't the same lick that you would hear somebody else do, because most of the guitar players there at that time were more into country music.
Mm-hmm.
And I happen to love blues or gospel at the time better than. And we would play on the strip in Bossier. And I think the intro to the song with the cowbell and the drums is very, very, nobody ever did it before. And whenever the name, just the name itself, Susie Q, I said, who is that? A girl? No, it really wasn't. Who was it? What was it? It was a word and a sound that fit the song. It could be anybody. I had no particular name of a person that it fit. It was, there was a dance one time called the Susie Q.
Mm-hmm.
But to everybody, it was a word that some people would use to say, hey, Susie Q, or something like that maybe. But it, oh, Susie Q. It was just a thing.
Yeah.
And it fit the song.
Sure.
And that's what it was. And how simple could you get? You like the way you walk. You're not being a negative person in any way to her. You're trying to tell her, you look good, girl. But, laugh, John. But there was no, that plus coming out of the guitar lick into the solo, we went from a 2 to a 4, which had never been done before. The change of the beat.
Yeah.
And did y'all hear it down in that part of the country?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Did you hear it down there, John?
Many, many versions.
Okay, buddy. I tell you what, this guy told me one time, he says, man, the first version I heard of that thing was a Rolling Stone. I said, you poor human.
How beneficial were some of those later versions, like the Rolling Stones and Creedence, of course? How beneficial were they to you?
John did a great version of it.
Yeah.
Bonnie Mac had a good version.
Yes.
And, yeah, he did, man. He really did. But I thought John's was the best of that besides mine. And even though See, man, what you got to understand, I was on a label that was a problem, but I was the first white artist on Checker. It was a blues label. And it made it hard in a way, but still I wouldn't have traded it for anything in the world because of the people I got to work with after that, after Susie Q. But, I was running a label out of Dallas called Abnac. At the time John was going to be recorded, CCR was doing it on Fantasy. And I had 3 records in the charts on Billboard at the same time. I couldn't leave and go help him to do the thing, and I said, John, I sure am glad I couldn't get away, because I might have helped you mess it up. I think John's version was great.
Yeah. Now, you were friends with Buddy Holly?
Buddy was a good friend.
What are some of your strongest memories of him, and where do you think he's...
Okay, I tell you what, we used to ride the subway together and look at people. And you got to understand, you got 2 country boys, man. And I had just got... Buddy came in the week after I got through at the Apollo, and we stayed at the same hotel. Some guy from Europe called me, she's off from England, called me about a month or so ago. I said, I think I found the receipt from the Forest Hotel with you, Buddy Holly, at JB, and is this really for real? I said, yeah, we stayed there, man. I said, send me a copy of it. I hadn't heard from him, but yeah, we were good friends. And the other thing about Buddy was the Maybe Baby. Do you remember some Maybe Baby?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. See, I helped John. I helped Buddy. I'm sorry, man. I helped Buddy work the song up before he went in to cut the second version. But we were good friends, and had a good time together. I didn't get to... We hung out together for about a month in New York, but didn't get to see him much after that.
Where do you think his career may have headed? Where do you think his career may have headed had he still been around?
I tell you what, comparing to who? Okay, if you listen to what he did and cut it off at that time, you can only be so good. Now, if everybody says, well, he would have been bigger and better than Elvis. He would have been bigger and better. I tell you who would have been a killer. Richie Valens, man. Mm-hmm. Richie Valens had a lot of things going. Buddy Holly was probably one of the greatest writers that you would want to hear, and a good dang singer. And he definitely was not what you would call a rockabilly to me. Buddy was a creator. He was all different. I think that. Do you think Peggy Sue was a rockabilly song?
It wouldn't be my first thought. No.
Okay, what would you call it?
Rock and roll.
All right. That's right.
Yeah.
That was part of the rock and roll coming in. The independent labels and the opportunity for the artist to have a studio to work in to create. And that's exactly right. It's like even today, to me, having a place to create is one of the most important things in the world, because you go into digital things, man, and you get in and everything has got to be so spicy and slick and whatever. Where is the human?
Yeah, true.
Am I wrong? Did I hear you say true?
Yes.
Okay. Next question. You got it.
You had the pleasure of playing the Apollo Theatre back in the 50s, which would have been rare at the time for a white performer. What do you recall of that?
Yeah. I was the first white artist to play it of that era. Somebody said something, well, there was some other... I said, man, if you want to go back through the archives of the Apollo, you'll find like a Benny Goodman and the Sinatra and a lot of guys. But for the rock and roll era, I was the first white artist to play it. I played the Cadillacs. Buddy came in 2 weeks after myself. We played in the Brooklyn Paramount. Buddy and I played together. But as far as the only thing that was hard about the Apollo Theater was how you had to do 4 shows a day, and got to play with some great musicians. But the hard part about it, I really wasn't any. It was just a new thing all the way around. My God, I walked up there. They had about a 16-piece band. I was used to having 3 pieces, And here you go with this guy. He's got all the charts written out and everything, and you go, and it's a bow, And so we kind of whittled down and kind of got down to the basics, and it was good. And let's see, the Cadillacs, I don't know if you ever heard of the group, were there. Let's see, I can't remember who I was on the show. But they were, I think Cadillacs were the second headliners. I don't really know who was the headliner of the show. But it was fun. I mean, who cared, man?
Yeah.
I mean, it was there and we did it, and it was a lot of fun. And what do you say?
Now, I believe you're one of the first white artists also signed to Chess Records too. Is that right?
I was the first white artist on Checker. Bobby Charles was the first white artist on the Chess label. And there were three. See, there were three labels. There was Chess, Checker, and Argo. Argo was what they would call their jazz label, which I think like started out with, let's see, the Ahmad Jamal or Ramsey Lewis trio.
Yeah.
Type. And then Checker, well, was kind of down in the blues thing. Bo Diddley and I. As a matter of fact, I saw Bo this year. We got to sing together and at the Blues Fest in Chicago. And then you had some of the greats. You had a Chuck Berry on Chess. The Moonglow. There was a lot of great artists on that label. And then Bobby had See You Later, Alligator. And I think that start off with we were the only two there. Yeah. A lot of people said, well, how did it feel to be a minority? I said, what is that? You know, in music.
Yeah.
What is a minority? Music is not a minority thing. It's a human thing, man. It's a spiritual experience of love. Like, you know, it's of a creation that people like. And it crossed a lot of bridges, brother.
Well, now, what prompted you to... You gave up performing and recording for a while in the 60s, didn't you?
I left RCA. I had, over a period of years, I would thought that legally, if I had a doctor prescribing medicine to me, or prescriptions, I got addicted to amphetamines. I couldn't, I thought that someone that was addicted to drugs was somebody with a needle in their hand, or drunk was somebody that stood at a bar stool and fell off. But being legal and having, you know, being under doctor's care, I thought I was okay. But there came a time when I found out that it wasn't. And I left for a while. I had two choices. Either I wanted to live or I wanted to stay there and die. And there wasn't anything I wanted to do about dying at all. And I left the business for a while. I went through a intense, really hard thing to do is to be on something for 15 or 16 years. Your body chemistry completely changes. And it was the hardest thing I ever had to do, man. And so I had almost in and out therapy for over a year. And after that, I thank you, Lord. And I said, and I tried to pay back. I helped start a suicide crisis intervention center for teens here. And then I said, how about now? You think I can go ahead and do what I want to for the rest of my life? I'd like to play music and write and create, produce. And that's what I've been doing for the past 5 years.
Now, you also spent some time working in the business side of the music industry too.
Yeah, sure.
How do you look back on that now?
I'm sorry, back to where now?
How do you look back on that time now?
Oh, I worked for, I ran a couple of record labels that were successful. I produced, I started the guy in Shreveport who had a little record store there I worked for when I started out. I couldn't get this guy to get any sense in his head. There was a group called the Uniques there. Joe Stampley and the Uniques. I don't know if you've ever heard the song Not Too Long Ago.
Doesn't ring a bell.
Okay, do you remember All These Things? But it's all these things.
Oh, yeah, yes.
Okay. Then the other was Not Too Long Ago, but she don't love me anymore. Anyway, I wrote a hot check for $187, man, to cut that song. And I couldn't get him to put it out, the fool. And so finally I talked him into getting, 400 and 100 DJ copies. And I stole the DJ copies out of the back of the store and decided, Stan, give me some of this blues stuff. I go get it played. Boy, I left there. I didn't put one blues. I hit every radio station between Shreveport and Atlanta down to Florida. And by the time I got to New Orleans, it was a hit. He had to put it out. I produced John Fred, A Judy in the Skies. Have you heard that song?
Of course, yeah.
Okay, and let's see. I left there and went to work for a label in Dallas called Abnac. And it was a label that, I think the man that actually owned the label, well, he had 3 insurance companies, but his son wanted to be an artist, a singer. And there was some talent there as far as the groups go. There was a group called the Five Americans, and I really wanted the job because I had left the road. I was used to making good money, and when you take a drop in money, from a job, making good money, and then you come down and you got to come all the way back as far as you can. But I produced 11 hits there for that label. Then I went to work. I had a chance to go to work for Screen Gems, Bell Records, which was Larry Udall. And I had never, I came off a good string of hits when I went to work for him. But I got to work with some of the guys over in Memphis. Chip Smallman, Dan Penn. The Stax and Volt stuff was taken off. And so I was executive vice president for the South for that label. And what we would do, would be to work with the producers there and distribute the product for them through Bell.
Yeah.
And I got to do some producing in there, which was a lot of fun.
I think that previously being a recording artist and performer yourself helped you in working in those fields in terms of.
Gosh, yeah.
Yeah, it would have.
And besides that, let me tell you, the distribution and the marketing, I knew it as good as anybody because I left a label that was an innovator or something that started that era of music, and I knew all the distributors. I knew how to market the product, and that would be to get it to certain stations that would play it. And I got along good with the accounting department to get paid from them, which was really a hard thing to do because unless you had a hit product coming right back out on the same artist or a better artist, they wouldn't pay you. And I had a lot of good friends in the business, man. But as far as the music business goes, I probably knew the record business as good as anybody.
Yeah, sure.
And,
did you put the guitar? Did you put the guitar away during this time?
You don't ever put it away.
No.
I mean, you don't ever quit playing. I mean, I really and truly just started back playing. Not really as full as I'm going to, but I've just kind of started back, trying to get back into it again, and I'm having a lot of fun. But as far as putting it away, man, I tell you, I don't think I ever will.
Yeah.
I am. What do you do? What are you going to say? That's kind of part of you. But the part of me that I have to say is probably the part that is the most fun to me is the creating of the product. It's to putting it together and it sounding good. That's what I love to do.
Yeah, it must have been a wonderful feeling to get back up on stage again and play for an audience after a long break.
Oh, listen, it was a great feeling, especially to be appreciated for what you have done, not only for what you're trying to do, but to be remembered is a wonderful feeling, my friend. It really is, especially when you had to go down so low as I had to go, and then to say, wow, they still remember me. It's good, sure.
Yeah.
It is.
How much live work are you doing these days?
You mean performing?
Yeah.
I see. Quite a bit. Let's see. I did the Jazz Festival in New Orleans this year. The Chicago Blues Festival. Let's see. Came back. I just got back from Atlanta. I'm going to Boulder and Denver, Colorado next week. And then from there, I go back to New Orleans, and then I'm going to Scandinavia. I'll be over there for a week. And I thought I'll probably come down your way, hopefully the first part of next year.
Oh, fantastic.
And, I've still got a lot of work, that we're doing in the studio. I try not to produce as much because it's such a draining thing because it takes every bit of your it's just a good draw, is what I can say. Kenny Brown is probably the only artist that I've produced, and the reason why that I produced Kenny, or even listened to his work, was from a friend of mine here for 14 years asked me to listen to his stuff, And I love slide players anyway, man. That's one of the best. Kenny Brown, one of the best slide players I know. And he works with a gentleman by the name of R.L. Burnside out of Mississippi, blues player.
Yep.
And he good. He could have made it when blues was blues, man. You know? I mean, it's like in that area of Mississippi down there, there was probably a period of about 16, 17 years when the economy was nil. There wasn't much. And it was so good to see it happen, just to come out and say, well, here's one we learned 20 years ago, and nobody had heard it, you know? And to see them play together. And it's doing good.
Have you got a regular live band of your own, or?
I tell you what, I worked in New Orleans with a Johnny J. He's got a rhythm section. But usually I might take one man and a good guitar player and myself. And if the band is good and they know the material, we get it in there to them and let them listen to it. Get in there for a day's rehearsal or so, and we fine. But it is fun to have the same group to play together, which we were fortunate enough to do for the past 2 months, because it's just easier. And I'm going out to Boulder. There'll be I'm going out to do the Gavin convention, which is I'm sure you know what it is. It's AAA radio. They have a market for everything. I think, or a different name. I just call it American music, but it's adult contemporary, which is it's a step in another direction for product.
Uh-huh.
And so we're going to do that next week.
Now, how about songwriting? Is that
I'd rather write and eat, man.
Is it easier for you now that you're older and wiser and more experienced?
Oh man, let me tell you what. Everywhere I go, I was in Atlanta. All right, the first night of the gig, the PA was down. It was bad. I'm gonna tell you, I went back to the room, man. I started writing a song about it. I said that the monitors were smoking. I had to have it. Anyway, I just said the PA. The mics were broke. It was a fun song. Don't get me wrong. He was talking about having a good time down at Blind Willie's.
Oh, yes.
And you know where, have you ever heard of the club?
Heard of it, yes.
Yeah. And I wrote a great song that night about the experience I had there. It was so funny, and it said that the board was choking and smoking from the stress, and it wouldn't work anymore. And but everybody was still having fun down at Willie, you know.
Yeah.
And but I write. I do constantly, yeah.
Yep.
Do you write?
No. Can't say that's not one of my talents.
I've got, let's see, probably ready to record. We've got about 8 more sides now that I've had for about the last, besides that song, I've had 8 ready to go for about 2 weeks.
Tremendous. So what scale of time are you looking at there to get in the studio again?
Okay. I'm sorry, I didn't understand you.
When were you planning to get into the studio again, to finish off?
I wanted to do it this week, but I'm not going to be able to. I'm tired right now. The comeback trip from Atlanta was really tough.
Yeah.
Getting off that late and having to get up early and come back in. And I wanted to be sure that I could be here to talk to you today, you know. And so when I finish talking to you, I'm going to go lay down and go to bed and get ready for Wednesday, you know.
Well-earned rest, yeah.
Yeah, and I'll...
The time all over again, Dale. Would you do anything differently?
If I had what now, my friend?
Your whole time, your whole career all over again, what would you do differently?
Oh, goodness gracious almighty. Buddy, I tell you what, I don't know. I really don't. I think that I would probably try to find someone to help me in the area of making sure I got what was coming to me as far as my rights as the artist or writer or whatever, because most of the stuff I did because I loved what I was doing.
Yeah.
And you don't care about anything else. That's all you want to do is to find a new lick or write a song or be working with somebody that does that, you know. And I don't know much I would have done different, because I don't guess I knew anything else. And everybody would say, gosh, I learned from you. I learned, hey, I didn't know anything. I was just trying to get through, you know. But I was really, I think the Lord blesses us in different ways. And there was a lot of things that I don't even, you know, I wouldn't even know how to talk about. But I think that the best thing to do is to leave the legal first, get it straightened out, and then you go in and let the creative people work together. You know, because if you don't, you'll destroy everything by bringing all the negatives in. Oh, we want this, we want this, we don't want this. You know, hey, leave us alone. You take care of your stuff over there, and we come over here, we'll take care of ours. But let us have a little bit, you know?
Yeah. Fair enough, too. All right, Dale, look, I won't keep you any longer. I'll let you go and catch up on some well-earned rest.
Thank you very much, John. And I really apologize again, and I hope to see you one day.